Welcome to TPM Vid's Disney Beat, where we talk about all things Disney. Fantasmic is a popular nighttime spectacular that originated and opened at the Disneyland Park in California in 1992. After the success of Fantasmic at Disneyland, a second version that featured some new scenes opened at Disney Hollywood Studios, formerly known as Disney MGM Studios, in 1998. Now, Fantasmic is a very impressive technical show that includes everything from pyrotechnics to music synchronized to water fountains and screens, 50 plus live performers, moving barges, and all the Disney magic you can think of. It's truly a spectacular. For the sake of this video, we'll be referring to Disneyland's Fantasmic prior to the update in 2017. Now, both shows are very technically complex, so there's bound to be technical glitches. But, as they say in the theater, the show must go on, and that's exactly what happens. The cast and crew at Fantasmic are prepared with alternate sequences and plan Bs if problems do happen. So today, we'll be looking at Fantasmic, sharing some show secrets, and counting down the top 10 fails, malfunctions, and bloopers from the show. But we're gonna do this countdown a bit differently, and go in the chronological order of the events that take place in Fantasmic, from the beginning of the show to the end. For we now invite you to join Mickey and experience Fantasmic, a journey beyond your wildest imagination. Starting our list off at number 10 is Mickey's Pyro Misfire. Fantasmic at both parks opens up with Mickey Mouse, dancing and orchestrating the show by bringing a series of colorful water fountains to life. And only a minute and 30 seconds into the show, audiences get their first glimpse at some magical pyro that shoots out of Mickey's fingers. Now that's how it normally goes, but this time it doesn't go to plan at Disneyland. There are times when the pyro doesn't go off at cue, and Mickey just goes on with the show like usual. And that's what Mickey does here, thinking it wasn't gonna go off. But he reacts very quickly and lifts his hands back in the air. This was a close call, but a great save by the mouse himself. Now let's switch coasts and head on over to Walt Disney World for number 9, and take a look at John Smith's stunt mishaps. The Pocahontas segment in Fantasmic is packed with action and features various stunts. One stunt involves John Smith swinging on a rope from one side of the mountain to the other, landing on a set of very small steps. Now there's times when the stunt isn't performed. It's usually when John Smith isn't able to untie the rope in time to make his cue. But there's also times when the stunt is performed and it doesn't go to plan, like this clip here. During the blackout, he was probably able to just slide down the rope onto the stage like nothing happened and continue on with the rest of the show. For number 8, we're staying at Walt Disney World, passing by the princess segment and moving right on to the evil queen from Snow White. The evil queen summons the magic mirror, then with much determination heads to the cauldron. But it seems like her cape gets in the way. But like a real professional performer, she gets right back up and continues on with the show. Next on our list at number 7, we're gonna head on over to Disneyland, where the evil queen is now at the cauldron. She casts her spell.
Turn my hair to white.
And after a lot of smoke and pyro, she turns into the old witch. There's times when the transformation into the witch can't happen as planned, most likely due to technical issues with the trapdoor through the cauldron. But there's a plan B that's ready at a moment's notice. White. So the evil queen always wears a white wig under the hood and crown, just in case. This way, the show can continue on seamlessly without any interruptions. A great example of how the cast and crew of Fantasmic are always on the ball. Coming in at number 6 on our list, we'll be heading back to Walt Disney World. This segment of Fantasmic is probably one of the most technically complex parts of the show, but it's very impressive. Not as impressive as the 45-foot animatronic fire-breathing dragon at Disneyland, but still impressive. So the Maleficent and Dragon sequence at Disney World goes a little something like this. In a plot to destroy Mickey, Maleficent, who was summoned by Chernabog, threatens Mickey as she transforms herself into an enormous dragon. Looks cool, but the dragon doesn't always cooperate. It has a lot of hydraulics operating it, and they do malfunction from time to time. In this clip, its head starts to move, then decides to take a little break and freezes, well, right there. Then in this clip, the dragon doesn't even fully get up before it freezes.
Oh, dragon's down.
But like the Evil Queen situation, there is also a plan B. They quickly switch gears into plan B, which has Maleficent rising on a rock again to light the river and fight Mickey Mouse. Now let's just head to Disneyland quickly. Sometimes they know ahead of time that the dragon is going to be out of the show, which has happened in the past when Disneyland upgraded their dragon to the one that's currently in the show today. Plan B also goes into effect in this situation as well. It happens almost seamlessly, and you'd never even know that the dragon was supposed to be there. Next at number 5, we have the Steamboat Willie dopey mishap. The finale in Fantasmic is one of those classic feel-good Disney moments. You have dozens of your favorite Disney characters on the Steamboat Willie if you're watching the show in Walt Disney World, or on the Mark Twain Riverboat if you're watching the show at Disneyland. Now the show's all magical and going according to plan at Walt Disney World when... This is an intense fall, and it's pretty ironic that the characters involved are dopey and goofy, and as bad as the situation is, you can't help but laugh. There's been some speculation that Dopey knew something was wrong because he stopped to look down. But if you look at this clip here from another performance, you can see that Dopey and Sleepy usually have some sort of business that they do while they walk along the platform. So it looks like it was really just an unfortunate misstep. But fortunately, both performers were okay and didn't really suffer any major injuries. Now, to avoid this happening again, Disney did take Steamboat Willie out of the show after the accident for a quick little refurb to install a higher kick plate on the bottom of the platform. Which leads us right into number 4, the Fantasmic Finale without a boat. In a situation such as Disney pulling the boat out of the show for a refurb, Fantasmic still needs its finale. So, both Disneyland in California and Hollywood Studios in Florida have an alternate finale where instead, the characters come on stage. Now, a major difference that we've noticed between the two versions of the show as a whole is that the Disneyland performers always seem to have much more energy than the Disney World performers. Just take a look at this comparison. The Disneyland performers on the top are very animated and are filled with tons of energy, which then translates to such an epic finale even with no boat, whereas the Disney World version lacks the energy Disneyland has. Not to mention that some of the performers are a little loose on the choreography, which always seems to be the case. Next on our list at number 3 is the bagging of the fish. So the boat passes the audience. Lights go out, the performers leave the boat, Sorcerer Mickey appears on the top of the mountain, and a bunch of fireworks go off. Now the performers leave the boat for 2 reasons. 1, their part's finished. And 2, they need to be in a covered and protected area to stay clear of the fireworks. Well, this is a problem for one character especially. Ariel. Right, she has a fin and can't just get up and walk away. So, what do? Yup, you just saw it. She gets covered with a flame retardant blanket to protect her from any pyrotechnics. Next at number 2, we'll take a look at Disneyland's alternate Mickey Mouse ending. So once Sorcerer Mickey is done conducting the fireworks, he magically appears on the lower level of the stage in his usual outfit and says the famous line, "Some imagination, huh?" In some cases, there's circumstances that prevent Mickey from appearing at the lower level of the stage, such as an issue with the hydraulic lift or Murphy the Dragon getting stuck on stage. But like many other segments in the show, there's an alternate version for this too. Although Sorcerer Mickey doesn't switch back into his classic outfit, he still disappears, which is almost as magical as the original ending. Let's shift back over to Walt Disney World and take a look at the #1 spot on our list, which is sort of the reverse of #2. So sometimes the hydraulic lift in the mountain malfunctions and Mickey can't appear. The audience always expects Mickey to show up, judging by the applause this moment gets when he doesn't, but he should. So in the event that the top lift isn't working, the audience is left to be entertained by the water fountains and fireworks, which are pretty cool, to then have the closing moment finish on the mouse himself going out with a bang. Have you seen Fantasmic before? If you have, which version did you see? The one at Disneyland or Disney World? And if you have an opinion on which one you prefer, leave a comment below. Thanks so much for watching! Click the TPM icon on the screen to subscribe to this channel, and check out some of these other videos which we're sure you'll like.